one of the biggest things that I walked away with, and it was like the way that Sam phrased it, was better than I'd ever heard it phrased. Because I've heard the adage, but I've never heard it phrased this way. And he was like, build your width, or sorry, don't build your depth, not your width.
Yeah.
Right. And what he meant by that was depth is just like getting really good at what you do as a coach. Right. So that doesn't mean like you have to know absolutely everything as a fitness coach. It just means that, utilize what you know right now. Once you utilize those things for an amount of time, add something to it, add something to it, add something to it. And he just explained that as like depth as a coach. And then he explained what width was, right? And width was, as a fitness coach, you're not a psychiatrist. As a fitness coach, you're not a physical therapist. As a fitness coach, you're not a doctor, right? Forgive me if you're a doctor and a fitness coach, but you get what I mean. And that was a really good way to put it. Like, you don't have to be all things, right? Build depth in your own practice and build good partnerships and relationships with people that can give you width, right? So that was something that I appreciated him walking through, and I hope that every coach took that the way that I took it. And that's why I wanted to like talk about that to close, because I thought that was such an important point, and it was a good way to say, prescribe what you know. It was a good way to say, you don't have to be all things. It was a good way to say, work with what you have right now and don't worry about the things that you don't have. So I just really appreciated him walking through that.
Yeah, talking about like a confidence boost for all the other coaches sitting in that room, especially the younger, newer ones, to hear someone like Sam, who has a ton of experience and a big client roster and does an amazing job with those clients, stand up there and say, it's okay not to know everything, and it's okay to refer out to the people that do, so that you can focus on the thing that matters most, which is being a fitness coach. Because when do clients get a bad service? It's when coaches are trying to be something that they're not, when they're trying to go beyond their lane, beyond their bumpers, and try and fix every little detail and provide this program that like is designed to fix every aspect of a client's life, instead of focusing on what that client came for, which was their fitness goals, right? We have to be masters in fitness program design, and that includes exercise and it includes lifestyle and nutrition. But there are pieces connected to all of those things: the physical aspect, if someone's injured; the nutrition aspect, if someone is having, some gut issues that you're not able to deal with. We have to be able to say this goes beyond what we do as fitness program designers, and refer out and be okay with that, and feel comfortable saying to our clients, I don't know, I'll find the answer, or I'll know someone who does, and I'll get back to you on that.
Yeah, and I think most coaches do that. I don't think most coaches play a role that they can't play, right? I just think most coaches, they refer out and they feel really bad about it,
Yeah.
right? I just think back to a conversation I had recently with a client that has some thyroid issues, right? And she was asking me a bunch of questions on like medication and blah, blah. And what I know about thyroid issues is that it's very complex and complicated, and there's no known way to work your way out of it through like lifestyle and nutrition and exercise. So I told her like, hey, like I'll have these conversations with you, like just to be a sounding board. And if your doctor has some recommendations of some things that you should do or should not do in lifestyle, nutrition, or exercise, yeah, definitely let me know. But it's not my lane. I don't know, right? It's like, but I felt okay saying that. I think there's some coaches that say that and they feel like, oh shit, now I got to go and research and I have to fill those holes. It's like, you don't always have to fill the holes, right? Like if we had to fill every hole, we would spend our whole careers just filling holes and never actually enjoy working with people. So I think as a coach, you have to like lay out the things that you do have to be good at, right? And like I think the list that you just laid out is a good starting point. It's like, do you understand principles of program design? Do you understand how to communicate with people at a very base level, not at a psychiatrist level? You have some with like childhood trauma and you have to get them out of that. Ooh, that's out of your lane now. But can you just have a conversation with a human and just be empathetic to them? Do you know how to connect the dots in lifestyle and like understand someone's priorities and connect the 5 hours of sleep with how that's going to make the rest of their day awesome, if they were to get more sleep. Those things are like the things that coaches need to get really good at. But understanding, how to get someone out of, hypothyroid syndrome is not, it's not in our lane. So I think coaches just need to hear that and be okay with that and be like, okay. And that's why I just love the way you put that. I'm going to steal that. I'm going to use that one probably forever. The building with, or not worrying about building with, but building depth as a fitness coach.
Yeah. Gosh, I even think about that in terms of the content that we as OPEX put out to our coaches, right? Like, I don't think we do a huge service to people offering them up education on how to fix faulty hormones or how to rehab, a shoulder injury or these very specific cases that you would normally refer someone to a specialist for. We focus on doing a really excellent job at teaching program design principles, consultation skills, all of these other things. And as a fitness company, I want that to be, the beacon that we put out and what we use to bring people in. And it goes back to the complicated, fancy exercise selection. It's kind of the same conversation, right? You're just trying to be something that you're not and trying to touch things that you don't truly understand. Let's hug the things we really understand. Let's not try and reach for these things that are just beyond our scope.
Yeah, it's such a good point. The shoulder thing, that just reminded me of the content that Active Life puts out, right? It's those guys are rehabilitation specialists, right? It's that's what they do really, really well. We don't do that really, really well. We don't want to do that really, really well. And Sean from Active Life actually reached out to me over the weekend, and he actually said that. He was like, hey, we get a lot of people that come to us and they're like, should we do Active Life or OPEX? And Sean's like, hey, man, I just want to jump on a call with you and just put something together that's really clear. This is what OPEX does. This is what Active Life RX does. There's not a lot of carryover in what we're trying to do in terms of the outcomes. So it's funny that you mentioned that because that reminded me of that piece of content that we'll put together with Active Life.
Yeah, as education providers, we got to be the ones leading from the front. We got to do that ourselves if we want coaches to do that in their practice.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
All right. I love it, Sam.